Breaking: Cardinal Mundubile faces excommunication after dramatic PF walkout. Zambia politics explodes. A dramatic walkout at the Patriotic Front's conclave has stunned Zambia's political and religious circles. Honorable Brian Cardinal Mundubile, known for his outspoken views, now faces possible excommunication after refusing to attend a critical party meeting. What led to this unprecedented move, and how could it impact PF politics and Zambia's wider political landscape? Stay tuned as we break down the facts, the fallout, and reactions from all sides. Good day, viewers. Welcome to another edition of InspirAfrica Official. I'm Nakash. Well, what a week it's been across the continent, but today, we find ourselves deep in the heart of Zambian politics, where the ground beneath one of the nation's most recognizable political figures is cracking open. Our lead story today. A cardinal of the Catholic Church, a man who once stood at the pulpit preaching unity and moral righteousness, now finds himself at the center of a political firestorm that could cost him not just his political career, but his very standing within the church itself. Picture this: the hallowed halls of Parliament, where democracy breathes and the people's will is supposed to be heard. Now imagine those same halls becoming a theater of betrayal, or a man of God walks out in protest, abandoning his party in their darkest hour. What drives a religious leader to such a dramatic political gesture? Was it conscience? Was it calculation? Or was it something far more troubling? Cardinal Mundubile, the name itself carries weight in Zambia. A man who wore two hats, one as a servant of the Catholic Church, another as a member of the Patriotic Front. But can any man truly serve two masters? When political loyalty collides with ecclesiastical authority, which one breaks first? The Catholic Church is now reportedly considering the ultimate spiritual punishment, excommunication. Cast out from the body of the faithful. Severed from the sacraments. A soul cut adrift. For what? For walking out of a parliamentary session? Or is there something deeper, something that threatens the very separation between church and state that democracies hold sacred? What happens when a cardinal becomes a politician? What happens when the pulpit becomes a podium? And when the Vatican's eyes turn toward Lusaka with disapproval, can any political alliance save you from the judgment of Rome? Factual foundation, background and timeline. The revelation came to light following a dramatic parliamentary session that has sent shockwaves through both Zambia's political establishment and its Catholic community. Cardinal Mundubile, serving as a member of parliament for the Patriotic Front, found himself at the epicenter of controversy when he staged a walkout during a critical parliamentary debate. The Patriotic Front, Zambia's opposition party founded by the late President Michael Sata, has been facing mounting pressure from the ruling United Party for National Development. The incident occurred during what sources describe as a heated parliamentary session where contentious legislation was being debated. Mundubile, along with several PF colleagues, reportedly stood up and exited the chamber in protest. A dramatic gesture that was captured and quickly circulated across Zambian media and social platforms. But this wasn't merely a political protest. Cardinal Mundubile's dual role as both a Catholic clergyman and a politician has long been a source of tension within the church hierarchy. The Catholic Church in Zambia, like its global counterpart, maintains strict guidelines about clergy involvement in partisan politics. Canon law explicitly restricts ordained ministers from holding public office without express permission from church authorities. According to reports emerging from ecclesiastical sources in Lusaka, the Zambian Catholic Bishops' Conference had previously expressed concern about Mundubile's political activities. These concerns had allegedly been communicated through proper church channels, with warnings that continued partisan engagement could result in canonical penalties. The walkout became the tipping point. Within days of the parliamentary incident, sources close to the archdiocese began indicating that formal proceedings regarding Mundubile's status within the church had been initiated. The specific charge, violating the sacred principle of separation between religious ministry and political partisanship, bringing scandal to the church, and potentially contravening canon law regarding clerical participation in governance. Direct evidence, quotes and testimony. While official church documents regarding the excommunication proceedings remain confidential under canon law, statements from various parties have begun to paint a clearer picture of the crisis. A spokesperson for the Zambian Catholic Bishops' Conference, speaking on condition of anonymity due to the sensitive nature of the proceedings, stated, "The Church has always maintained that our priests and religious must remain above partisan politics." When a member of the clergy accepts a political position, especially one that requires party loyalty and partisan advocacy, it creates an untenable conflict. The faithful must be able to trust that their spiritual leaders are focused on the gospel, not on political advancement. The spokesperson continued, Cardinal Mundubile was made aware, on multiple occasions, of the Church's position on this matter. We don't take the possibility of excommunication lightly. It's the most severe penalty the Church can impose. But when scandal is given, when the integrity of the priesthood is compromised, we must act to protect the faith of the people. From the political side, fellow Patriotic Front members have rushed to Mundubile's defense. PF Secretary General Raphael Nakasinda reportedly told journalists, Cardinal Mundubile is a patriot who has served this nation with distinction. The walkout was a legitimate parliamentary protest against the UPND's authoritarian tendencies. If the Church wants to punish him for standing up for democracy, then we need to have a serious conversation about religious freedom in this country. Another PF parliamentarian, speaking off the record, expressed frustration. Look, we need every voice we can get in opposition right now. Mundubile brings credibility, he brings moral authority. Losing him would be devastating. But what can we do? The Catholic Church doesn't negotiate. When Rome speaks, you listen, or you pay the price. Social media has erupted with reaction from ordinary Zambians. One Twitter user wrote, "A man of God should never be a man of politics." Mundubile made his choice when he joined PF. Now he faces the consequences. #Church and State. Another countered, "This is persecution. The Church should stay out of politics if they don't want politicians in the Church." Hypocrisy. #Stand with Mundubile. A Catholic parishioner from Lusaka, interviewed by local media, expressed the confusion many faithful feel. I don't know what to think anymore. Cardinal Mundubile baptized my children. He's been our spiritual father for years. But then I see him on TV shouting at political opponents, walking out of parliament. Is that what a cardinal should be doing? I pray for him. I pray for all of us. Legal analysts have also weighed in. Constitutional lawyer Elias Munchia stated in a radio interview, from a constitutional standpoint, Mundubile has every right to serve in parliament. Zambia guarantees freedom of political participation. However, the Catholic Church is a private institution with its own internal governance. They can impose their own discipline on their members. The question is whether Mundubile will choose his collar or his parliamentary seat. He can't keep both. Deeper analysis, implications and reactions. This crisis raises fundamental questions about the relationship between religious authority and democratic participation in modern African states. The issue of clergy in politics is not new to Africa. From Archbishop Desmond Tutu's anti-apartheid activism in South Africa to the political engagement of religious leaders across the continent, the line between spiritual guidance and political action has always been blurred. However, there's a critical distinction between moral advocacy and partisan politics. Dr. Muzonda Kabwe, a political scientist at the University of Zambia, argues, African politics has always had a religious dimension. Our leaders invoke God, our campaigns happen in churches and mosques, our moral discourse is inherently spiritual. But when a religious leader becomes a party politician, accountable to a party whip rather than to their congregation, something fundamental shifts. They're no longer speaking truth to power, they become the power. The Catholic Church's position is rooted in centuries of theology and canon law. The Second Vatican Council emphasized the Church's spiritual mission and warned against clergy becoming too entangled in temporal affairs. Pope Francis himself has repeatedly cautioned against the clericalization of politics and the politicization of the clergy. But critics argue that the Church's stance is selective. Father Thomas Mpundu, a well-known Zambian Jesuit priest and political commentator, has openly criticized government policies without facing ecclesiastical sanction. The difference, church officials insist, is that Father Mpundu speaks as a moral voice, not as a partisan operative holding elected office. The potential excommunication carries profound implications beyond Mundubile's personal fate. If the church follows through, it sends an unmistakable message to other clergy who might be tempted by political office: choose one path or the other. This could reshape Zambian politics, removing a category of actors who have historically wielded significant influence. For the Patriotic Front, losing Mundubile would be more than a numerical setback in parliament. It would represent a moral defeat, a signal that even religious figures find their political project untenable. The opposition is already struggling against a dominant UPND government. This crisis deepens their vulnerability. There are also unresolved questions about due process. Has Mundubile been given adequate opportunity to defend himself? What exactly are the canonical charges? Will there be a formal church tribunal? Under canon law, even in cases of grave scandal, the accused has rights to representation and appeal. Some observers wonder whether external pressure might be influencing church decisions. Could the UPND government, seeking to weaken the opposition, be indirectly encouraging church action? Church officials vehemently deny any political interference, insisting their concerns are purely pastoral and canonical. The broader Zambian public remains divided. In a nation where approximately 75% of the population identifies as Christian, and where the Catholic Church runs hundreds of schools and hospitals, the Church's moral authority is substantial. Yet Zambians also value their democratic freedoms and resist what they perceive as religious overreach. This case may ultimately test the resilience of Zambia's secular democratic institutions. Can they accommodate religious leaders who want to participate fully in politics? Should they? Well, viewers, there you have it. A cardinal at the crossroads. A church drawing a line in the sand. A nation watching to see whether spiritual authority or political ambition will prevail. Thank you so much for watching another edition of InspirAfrica Official. This story is far from over, and we'll be tracking every development as Cardinal Mundubile's fate hangs in the balance. What do you think? Should clergy be allowed to hold political office? Is the Catholic Church right to enforce this separation, or is it an infringement on democratic rights? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's have a respectful, thoughtful conversation about faith, politics, and power in modern Africa. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories from across the continent, stories that matter, stories that shape our future, stories that inspire. Until then, I'm Nakash. Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay inspired.